But I wanted to ask you a question that I saw on Twitter, posted by at Tyler I am, and he asked if I'm paraphrasing, but if a girl treated you the way your favorite sports team did, would you leave the relationship?
Oh, that's a deep one, bro. um,
So the beginning of your Knicks
Yikes.
fandom to now, like if you have to think about everything that you've been through as a Knicks fan to where the team is now, what's your answer?
Would I have let probably. I think I love myself too much to withstand a relationship like that. I would have given up a while ago if that was the case. Yeah, the beginning of my Knicks fandom, I became a fan at kind of a turning point in the franchise, but it was one of those turning points that wasn't really a turning point. It was just like a slight bump up, and then just the just sunk deeper and deeper into the valley. I became a fan in the Marbury era, and
Mm,
so when I lived and grew up in New York, but I didn't really start engaging with Knicks content and basketball on that level until around the time Stephon Marbury came, and it was like, oh, he's about to bring this new energy to the Garden, and it's going to be hype, and it was a lot of fun, for the first year and some change, and then you know just we just couldn't win, just couldn't make the playoffs. You had, whether you got Jamal Crawford or Quentin Richardson and Eddie Curry, and then Mike D'Antoni, and before that they had Steve Francis and Ronaldo Balkman, and I could go
the list
into it,
goes on.
but long story short, no, I don't think I could stay in that relationship. No.
That's fair. That's
I've
fair.
definitely been used and abused and disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. I think that for me, I think it would have been an on and off again relationship for sure. Because I think there's so many good moments, definitely, as a Bulls fan over the last, I want to say 15 years. But there's been some trying times, uh,
Yeah.
to be kind about it. So what's your highest and lowest moments respectively as a Knicks fan?
So to double back to that Marty Collins and Ronaldo Balkman era of just the franchise just middling, not really knowing what's going on. You know, the best we could hope for was Nate Robinson winning the slam dunk contest. Those are some
Mm-hmm.
dark times. Um, but then things got darker, surprisingly. We had the little, the blip of hope in the Melo era, and then the Melo era came to an end, and we're like, okay, we got to move on from Melo. He's not great, as good as he used to be. Let's get some pieces for him while we still can. Build around Kristaps Porzingis, and then Kristaps Porzingis busts his Achilles. His ACL, is out for like a year and some change. And while he is injured and rehabbing his injury, demands a trade. I've never seen such a thing happen where somebody is out, with a season-long ending injury and is still able to demand a trade because he doesn't like where the franchise is going. A man who is not playing, can I repeat, a man who is not playing and is injured demanded a trade saying, I don't like the direction of this franchise. And just thinking about the leverage that he had to pull this off and the gall, but he did. And he was gone. And David Fizdale was the coach. And we finished the season a whopping 17-65,
Mm.
out. Yeah, it was
Mm.
dark. Bottom
Mm.
bottom feeder franchise. And this is also a season where it was like, okay, we got rid of Porzingis. Let's build towards the future with all this promise, all this glitz and glamour. We got Zion, number 1 overall pick, tied the league for the worst or second to worst record. So we got a great shot to get the number 1 overall pick. Kevin Durant is going to be a free agent. He's leaving. Kyrie Irving is going to be a free agent. Kawhi, Kemba, all these Ks are coming out into unrestricted free agency, and we got all this potential. And then we whiff on just about everybody. We whiff on Zion, we whiff on Kevin, and we whiff on Kyrie. And not only do they come to New York, but they just go to the other franchise. And we end up with the 3rd overall pick. So no Zion, no Ja Morant. And it's like, oh, okay, this is what darkness feels like. To see hope, to see light at the end of the tunnel, just a glimmer. And then for it to just dissipate into thin air, like the dusting at the end of Infinity War, just, dispassionate, you think you had it and you don't, it's okay. And so that was definitely the darkest time for me as a Knicks fan. How about you?
It's pretty easy. I feel like you know where I'm going. It's got to be the Rose injury, for sure. I remember sitting on my bed, like I was watching the game on like my laptop. This is a 2010 laptop, so it's super grainy footage, so I can barely see what's happening. And we're winning a playoff game, and limited amount of time left, and he just goes down. And you can kind of see from the looks on everyone's faces and the tone from the other team and the announcers how bad it is. And then just I think my internet connection was going in and out, so I was like losing the connection, not knowing what was happening, logging back in and just seeing updates and seeing how bad things had gotten, and then getting the alert on my phone that his ACL was torn and he was done for the year. And I just remember just walking around campus, just feeling like the world was over. The world had ended, because it was just, there was so much hope that went into, he was coming off of an MVP year. I think the team was coming off of winning 60 games that year. And we had lost to Miami the year prior. But I think that when you added up the scores of all the games themselves, the score was tied in that series, despite the fact that they lost 4-1. So there was some sense of hope that, with another year of experience, that we could actually compete with the best team in the league. And, it all just kind of evaporated. And it was kind of the beginning of us never being able to really get over the hump. And then after that, kind of giving up on everything and going into a full rebuild, and getting 3 straight number 7 picks, even though we were tanking. So there was a lot of darkness. But Derrick Rose kind of represented a lot of hope for the team. So that was definitely the lowest moment as a Bulls fan. What's your high as a Knicks fan?
So my high has to be the 2012-2013 season. We sold the farm to get Melo, and the first year, we made the playoffs. And the second year we were kind of middling. We had Linsanity come through. Melo was, a little bit injured towards that point of the season, and we're just looking kind of decent but a little stagnant. And then that 2012-2013 season, Jason Kidd comes in. We get Raymond Felton back. Steve Novak becomes this just 3-point monster. Iman Shumpert's back. We get J.R. Smith coming off of the lockout year where we bought his contract. And we just had this bevy of talent, along with Stat and Melo and Wilson Chandler anchoring, the 5. And it was like, oh, the Knicks are here. The Knicks are back. It became normal. Like winning became normalized in New York again. And it was like, oh yeah, we expect a win every night now. And it was like we were thrashing teams, blowing teams out. I think we had the 2nd or 3rd best record in the league that year. I think, no, not the league. Well, at least in the Eastern Conference, I think it was like Miami, then Indiana, and then us, with some mix of that. But I think we had the 3rd seed. So it was looking positive. And it was just a fun year overall, and Mike Woodson was the coach. It was interesting because he was an interim coach after, I believe, D'Antoni got fired, and the team just kept playing well. under him, so we just kept him. And I was just happy, you know. And then we get into the playoffs. You know, I think we beat Milwaukee either in 5 games or in 4 games. Then we go into Indiana with Frank Vogel, and Indiana just played really, really well. We lost to them in 6 games, but it was like, okay, you know, we're making progress. Like, this is a good team. Melo's playing his butt off. Everybody else is competing. I think we're going to be back here next year. We're going to be in a championship conversation maybe. And then, you know, history tells you what happens, you know, next. We never are able to reach that kind of height, and we haven't been since. But at least that point was just a really awesome point, because I was an adult at that point, and I was a struggling Knicks fan since 03, 04. And so to see that to that point, it was such a high in my, you know, in my childhood, and as I was a Knicks fan.
No, I get it, bro. Because no, like you're trying to like temper your highs and say like, yeah, it's not a championship, but like that's kind of what we have to do. we have to be realistic about our expectations for these franchises and what the highs are. Because my high is a single moment. It's one single moment. It's not a stretch. It's literally just one single moment, and the moment is the Derrick Rose buzzer beater on the Cavs. I want to say it was in game 3 in 2015. Just improbable, going right, banking it in, him running down the court into Joakim Noah's arms, and, you know, looking like he just, you know, someone told him that he was going to have to file a 1099 this year. Like, completely bored in the face, like he didn't just hit a game winner. But yeah, I think we went up 2-1 on the Cavs at that point. So there was a lot of optimism. Yeah. I remember that shot, and I remember feeling like that was the most excited I had ever felt watching a game of basketball. You know, to be down 2, hit a 3, to go up 1 and go up 2-1 against the Cavs and against LeBron, who I was still hating on at that point because I didn't come to appreciate him until later on that year in the finals against the Warriors. But yeah. I think that was my high as a fan. And like, you know, like you said with the Knicks, and I've said like with the Bulls, the highs don't last long because we lost the series.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us to the current state of the franchise. And I guess just briefly, how are you feeling about the Knicks as things stand right now?
As things stand right now, I am on cloud mother loving 9. We have the longest winning streak that we've had in the last 7 years. I believe we're on a 5-game winning streak. And 5-game winning streak is the longest streak we've had in 7 years. Hey, progress is progress, man. If you would have told me that we would have had a 5-game winning streak and be, you know, in the 6th seed at the beginning of the season, I was like, sign me up. I'll take that. I'll take that right now. And so I'm hyped. I'm legitimately hyped and happy. You know, Julius is making a case for all NBA third team this year. He is averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 41% from 3-point this year. Like, he is a legit stat monster, and his game is impacting winning. You know, he's a bully in the paint. He muscles people. He organizes the offense. He pushes the pace. He's a sharpshooter. He's like everything you could want in the best player on your team. At least for right now, you know, and considering everything else that's going on, he's that guy at the moment. RJ Barrett is having, you know, a terrific year. He has improved in basically every statistical category this season. The only thing he's down is steals per game. He went from 1 steal to 0.8 steals a game. But every other statistical category, he's shown like marked improvement. Shot selection is better. He's now shooting 38% from 3, whereas he was shooting 32% last year. And he's he's slowly making the climb and slowly just getting better. And it's a perfect situation for him to develop because he doesn't have to have the pressure of the franchise on his back. That's what Julius Randle is dealing with. RJ has to just go out, try his best, find his shots where he needs to find it, and make impactful plays while he's still learning and getting used to the game. T. Thibs is a wrecking ball of a coach. He knows how to coach defense and effort, and we just happen to have a team that's been constructed with guys who all have some kind of chip on their shoulder, who are all trying to prove something and are all really fighting hard every game. The effort that they give every game is just so infectious to watch. No game feels like we're completely out of it, especially because we're 8th in the league in 3-point percentage. So we can shoot our way back into a game, even though offensively we have a really low rating. We can make a lot of shots, and because we can keep the games within arm's reach with our defense, which is now first in points allowed, as well as in field goal percentage allowed and 3-point percentage allowed, we're able to stay in games and always kind of be in striking distance. And so it's so much better than last year. I remember just watching us be worst team when it came to defending the 3-point shot. Whenever teams would come to the Garden, they would just shoot, the lights out. And it was just a vacation game for teams. And I'm just happy overall. I'm just happy with the progress. I'm thinking towards the future. I think we're going to make the playoffs. Hopefully we can make a solid run, and then it's going to come the offseason time. We're going to have to make some tough decisions. I think they're going to try to make some trades and some free agent signings, so we can be more competitive. And I'm hopeful. I'm legitimately hopeful. I think that as long as you keep the core of RJ and Julius Randle, get one more star or superstar in there. As long as we have that core with Tibbs, I'm really confident about whatever the team can do, Yeah,
That's
so
good,
I'm
bro.
hyped.
I'm really happy. I'm really genuinely happy for you. In the
I can see it.
in the 15 years or so of me being a Bulls fan, I've never envied the Knicks until now. So that kind of tells you where I'm at as far as the Bulls season this year. Okay. We are 3-9 since the Vucevic trade. 11th in the East. And Zach Lavine is out for the next 10 to 14 days on COVID protocol. So, yeah. All right. So let's move on to our next topic. I'm going to go ahead